making a Christmas rose. So I'm going to be using this really pretty snowdrift mesh. Okay, isn't that pretty? It's going to look so pretty as a rose. So I cut up a roll already and did some petals, so you guys are watching me do petals. But I will cut some of this one. So I am using 2 rolls. It is a 10.5 by 10 yard roll. Okay. And then I'm going to be using these Juniper Picks, and they're rubber. They're pretty cool. Instead of green mesh, I'm going to use these Juniper Picks for leaves. It's going to be really, really pretty. So we'll put, you know, maybe one here and one here when we're done. And then I got this big chubby old cardinal. Isn't he cute? That I can put him sitting on the branch on the outside of the rose, or I can have him on the rose. I don't know what I'm going to do yet. Yeah, Staff Confections do. So this is what I'm going to be using for the greenery instead of mesh. I think it's going to look fab. And I got a whole bunch of petals pre-made. So we are not sitting here watching Lori make all kinds of petals. And I'm going to be doing this a little different yet again. I am going to master the outside of this rose that you guys can master it and do it more easy. I know a lot of people have problems with the outside part of the rose. And I was playing around, before I got sick, I was playing around with the mesh, and I think I came up with something that may just fix that problem. Hi, Mom. Okay, so we are going to be using the large board. This is the large board. You'll see chamfered holes up at the top. Those are your hanging holes. And you'll see a 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 on your board. Okay, and then you'll see lines for each circumference. So this is circumference 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, obviously because it's labeled. And then you got 2 inner holes. We're going to be using this for the bud. Okay. We are going to use these outside holes, and I'm going to show you this. We're going to try something out that I've not done before. Like I said, I was playing around. We're going to open up our mesh. Hello, hello, everybody. It is the large board. And I am using this beautiful snowdrift mesh. Again, this is going to be a Christmas rose. And like I said, this is a 10.5 by 10 yard roll. And I'll let you know how many pieces when we're done. I'll let you know how many pieces, because I'm going to do the center really full too. And I'll probably use maybe three pieces just for the center. So we'll figure that out. So what you want to do firstly is you're going to cut your mesh 10.5 by 10.5. So it is 10.5 inches wide. We are going to be doing 10.5 inches. Okay, I'm going to just cut this just straighten the edge. Okay, so we're going to cut our pieces 10.5 inches. So you're going to pull it on your cutting mat, and the bottom, you want to make sure it's running along a line so that you get a fairly straight square piece, and you're going to cut it at the 10.5. Now, you don't have to do the whole rose at 10.5. You can cut it at 10 to save some mesh. However, these first pieces that I'm going to be using, the new way, I do want to keep it at 10.5. So I need 4 of those at 10.5. And I just put something heavy there, so we just want a nice square piece. So for right now, I'm going to do 4 of these right at 10.5. Okay, like I said, you can cut the rest of them at 10.5. You do have 2 rolls if you bought the kit. Or you can do it at 10 inches and it'll still work out just as fine, okay? Hello, hello. All right, I'm going to take my large board and I am going to preload. So let's start where it says number 2. Let me zoom down for you guys so you can see a little bit better. Okay, so I'm going to go down the number 2, right in between, go down and up with a zip tie. Okay, just like that, and preload that zip tie so it's locked. And then I'm going to skip to the fourth. 1, 2, 3. Was it the 4? Okay, wait, 1, 2. Okay, let's just try, hold on, rewind. Okay, to make the petal, you're going to take curl up 10.5 by 10.5. Turn it into a diamond shape. I always make sure that my serged factory edge is on my left top. My right hand is the tattoo. I am going to bring the top corner down to the bottom corner, and I kind of swing it to the right, and you want to make sure the edges are semi-lined up. Now this, like I said, this is a 10.5 inch piece, so it's perfect square, so the edges will line up. I'm going to pinch right in the middle down at the corner and then bring these 2 sides in. I'm going to take the tail of this umbrella or manatee, not manatee, you know, the other swimming thing with a tail. I'm going to put it into this zip tie that I did, okay? Just going to put it in till about the tip of it is just in hitting the 2 holes right there in front where the 3 is, and pull that tight. Okay, we're doing this a different way. You're going to take your wire nippers, wherever my wire nippers are, right here, and we're going to clip this off. Okay, so what we're going to do different though is and usually I tack them right into the zip tie here. This time we're going to tack it up here. So I'm going to go again right here. So 1, 2, 3. I think it's 3. I should have left my example. I'm going to go down right at the bottom. And then these 2, I believe. So we'll do the same thing. So I just went straight down to the bottom one here, folding this in and putting it into the bottom here and zip it up. All right, so now we got the top, bottom, and we're going to do the 2 sides here. I hope I'm doing this right. Yeah, right here. All right, again, I guess I have, take the top, bring it down to the bottom to a triangle, and then I kind of swing it to the left to make sure my mesh is lined up, pinch it in the center. Stingray, that's what I was thinking of, stingray. Okay, and then I'm pulling that tight. This is just a new way I'm going to try with doing the outside row of the rows, because I know many people struggle with it. So now we're going to go right across. So we did top, bottom, side, side, 4 pieces. Okay, hopefully I didn't lose anybody. Again, I always make sure serged edge top. I'm going to pinch it, make your little stingray, and there we go, my Mickey Mouse thing is stuck. All right, so we got 4 pieces on the board. We are on row 2. Now what I'm going to do different is normally when we do the rows, we skip a hole and we put another petal in here, and then we go like this and zip tie these corners into here. Well, some people can't get it done like that, plus they are a little upset that you can see the board. So like I said, I've been playing around and I think I figured out a way. So the hole, okay, so we got the 4 pieces, and there's 1, 2, 3 holes on row 1 here, okay? What I'm going to do is put a zip tie down that middle hole in between these 3, and I am going to put the corner that's on my right side and then the corner on the left side, and I am going to zip tie it right here on row 1. Now you can't see the outside of the board, okay? You're not doing anything wrong, Betty. I just keep trying to improve it more and more to make it easier for everybody to make. And I think I've nailed it with this one. Okay, so we're turning it around. Again, we have 3 holes in between these 2 pieces. I am going to put a zip tie just down on the in through the hole in the board. Again, I'm taking the right corner and the left corner on the other one, just placing it right on the board in between the zip tie, and I'm going to go around it and zip tie it tight. If you love doing the rows, I think this is going to help everybody a lot. We'll see. It may be a fail, I don't know. And we're gonna do this one again too. So far, it's pretty easy. Just put, and you don't want to pull it tight. You don't want to pull it like this. Keep it nice and loose, but enough that it's in the zip tie and it's not going to come undone there. Okay, and like I said, normally we do every other like this. This is a new way. Okay, and as you can see, it's already covering up the edges of the board. Okay, we got 1 more left here. Thank you for floating my boat. All right. Well, Betty, you'll probably love this way. And this is our last one. We're going to do like this. So again, just our right petal, the corner, left petal, the corner, come around the board. Alrighty. And zip tie it up. Alrighty. It's looking so much better already. From the way we used to do it. This is what we got. Okay, now what we're going to do is we're going to preload from here every other. So just pick a spot. So we're going to skip this one and we're going to put a zip tie down this set of holes. So down and up, and do it up till you hear your zip. Okay, and it's locked. Alrighty. No, Deborah, not now. I'm doing this really slow. You guys will have no problem. So we're skipping every other hole still. So it's basically the middle set of holes where you have that zip tie on row 1 here, where we tacked down the 2 corners. You're going to just go right in front to that zip tie. Okay, so we got 4. we're going to cut 4 more pieces of mesh at 10.5 inches. Okay, so 21, 10.5. Now it's not going to take us forever to do this. I'm just going very slow for this row because, like I said, I am doing it differently than I normally do it. But I think this is exactly what the way I've been trying to figure out a way forever so you don't see the edge of the board. Okay, ready? We're going to do the same petal fold. Okay, top corner, bottom corner, swing it around, pinch it. There's our petal. And we're going to go in, just like we did the other ones, till it goes to right about the next set of holes, okay? And then do it up. Judy Baker, you will get this rose completed. I'm going slow, step by step here. We will get her done. Okay, so we're just doing exactly the same here. We haven't tacked down these corners or anything yet. So the petals for the rose are this petal for the whole thing. So the petal is quite easy. So we're going to put one more in. Yes, Candy, I am feeling better. Thank you all for all your notes and messages and everything. I read them all on Facebook. You guys are fabulous. Okay, there's 4 in. Let's cut our zip tie tails off here. Alrighty. Now what I'm going to do is this one that we tacked down on row 1. So there's the 2 right and left are loose here. I'm going to put a zip tie, and I'm just doing it that you can, once I do this once, you guys can figure out how it will work best for you. This way works best for me for teaching. I'm going to take the right corner, put it into the zip tie like here. Take the left corner, put it in. So you're kind of crossing them, but don't do it too tight, just enough that it's in the zip tie and it's not going to slip out. Okay, so there's our 2 corners, and then zip it closed. Nice and tight. Do you see how we're forming that really nice scallop edge now without seeing the outside of the board? Okay, now I'm going down and up. Oh, not this one. Sorry, it's this one. Okay, again, we're going to put the right corner in, the left corner in. Try and make sure your edge of your mesh are together. Just like that. You're kind of making an X and pull it tight. Can you see how nice it's forming? So nice. I'm just super excited. It is getting much better, Jenny. Thank you. All right, so now we're going here again. Not again, but corner, corner. So where I'm putting the zip ties are the original 4 that I first put onto the board. Okay, one more. Look how nice this outside of the rose is. So much easier. Okay, there we go. Let's put our right corner in. Again, making sure your mesh edges are lined up. And then once you have it crisscrossed or an X, pull it tight. All right. We are done the outside row and it's perfect. And was that easy? That was pretty easy, I think. I'll flip it over so you can see. We have done every other hole on row 2, but we also did 4 zip ties on row 1 to tack down those first 4 corners. Okay, there we go. And this will puff up nicely and you don't see the outside edge. So I think we've mastered it, right? So much better. Yes, I know. So now I'm going to start in the center. So now normally once you get the rows, the hang of the rows, you normally will start in the center and you can work your way out. The reason I start on the outside row is because the outside row seems to be the hardest for everybody. And if I started on the inside and worked my way out, you guys wouldn't be able to see what I was doing. Okay? So I think we just nailed the perfect way to do the outside of the rows. I knew one day I would get it. Okay, so I'm doing 4 on row 5. So this is row 5, you see row 5. We're doing the normal holes on row 5. Just preloading them. So going down, coming back up the next hole. Okay, so we got 4 preloaded. Just gonna put this to the side. Now we're gonna make the bud of the rows. Can you get me buble? So I'm going to cut more mesh. Like I said, I have pre-cut mesh, so you guys are not going to have to watch me once we finish the bud, because the rest is really, really easy. So we're going to cut. I think I'm going to use 3 pieces for the bud. I'm going to make a nice full bud. Well, somebody's got to be a mad scientist to get things perfected. Not perfected, but a lot easier, right? It's got to be a lot easier. And I think this way that I just did it will really, really help everybody. Okay, the bud of the rows. We're taking our 10.5 by 10.5 piece again. Alrighty. Still going to fold it. Like I said, all the rose is made with this petal throughout the whole thing. Okay, I'm going to pinch it down at the corner here. It's about a 2-inch pinch for the tail. Okay, and I like to use these little rubber bands. Now you don't have to, but it's a lot easier to manipulate your mesh without having to hold on to it. You can get these little elastic bands in the hair section at Dollar Tree or Dollarama or wherever. They're just clear little hair bands. They're amazing, especially if you're making flowers, because you can pre-make all your petals, and then once you've loaded your board, you whip them all in, right? Or you can use little clips as well. So this is the start of my bud. I'm going to take my right side in. I'm going to take the corner of it and kind of roll it like this. So I'm holding it. That corner is about the same as the tail. Just roll it in like that. And then we're just going to roll it like, just roll it till it looks like that. So if you just, trying to think of an easy way for you guys to do it. I guess if you just See, for me, I just roll it like this and then continue rolling. And then bring the other corner down. Okay, but all the two corners are the same length as the tail. I'm going to put another rubber band on it. And again, you can use little clips if you want, but the rubber bands really help a lot. Okay, so there is the inner bud. Okay, let's make another one. Down the corner. I'm going to pinch that tail. Now I'm going to, do you see there's, when you make this petal, it kind of curves just a bit. We're going to use the curve of that petal to our advantage. So what I want to do is I'm going to use the curve, so it kind of divots in here. I'm going to take this piece and bring it right up against this little rosebud I just did. Okay, and the tail of them are matching. I'm going to bring this corner and just wrap it around and bring it down. This corner, wrap it around and bring it down. Okay, so this is what we have. And I'm going to do one more piece on this side. Now this does take practice. I still haven't even perfected it whatsoever. Okay, when you do your pinch, when you pick it up, you can see that there's a bit of a curve. Again, we're using that curve. And I'm going to put the curve, see where the indent here is for the mesh. I'm going to take my pipe or my clothespin off, and I'm going to put it on this side. This corner is still the same length as the other two. Bring it around, and then bring the other side around. And then you can just sculpt it a little bit. And then I'm going to put another elastic band on it. So we got a really nice looking rosebud that's going to go in the center. I'm going to put a zip tie in the center, 2 holes. Just do it up a little bit like that. Now you can, I should have probably just did that. You can put a zip tie around the bottom instead of a elastic band to hold it tighter. You don't want your rosebud really too high. So you just I just kind of bend it just to see about how high I want the rosebud, because you don't want the rosebud sticking out past your petals, right? So right about where I have my elastic anyways. And again, this takes a little bit of playing and some practice. Yeah, that looks good. Alrighty. There, we got a nice rosebud. And then I just zip tied it. We will cut that zip tie tail off. Cut some of this bulk off. Get my sharp scissors. So I'm cutting a little bit below. We want to leave a little bit so we can put it into the zip tie, but just a little bit of that bulk off. So that's 3 pieces of mesh. Now what we're going to do is you're going to take the bottom of that bud and put it right into the middle zip tie that you just put in and do it tight. Okay, like that, and we'll clip this off. Now it will end up staying straight once we start putting the other pieces of mesh in. All right, hopefully you may have to rewatch that a few times, but like I said, just play with the mesh, sculpt it. What if I put a zip tie down the center? Let me try something else. Wondering if I put a zip tie so it'll stand straight up. So I put a zip tie into the zip tie that I already have there. I'm going to cut more of this off because I'm thinking take the bottom or the head and the tail, go through. That won't work either. I'll put one in the front, one in the back. So I have one in the front, one in the back. And if I went from here, trying something, guys. This one to this one. And then put these in. Just want to see if you guys can see. So this one to here. Oh, it will work. Just trying to get it to stand up straight, and I think that works. So when I flip it over, you can see where I've put it. So the center to one of these outside holes, pull it tight, pull it tight, and it works. Pull it nice and tight, both of them. Perfect. It stands straight up. Awesome. You guys see how I did that? You might have to rewind it for the replay. But look how perfect it stands straight up. Yay me. All right, I'll just put these two zip ties back in. So down and up. And then down and up. And then the rest is very easy. So if you get the outside done and your bud done, you're good to go, my friends. So you just got to see the mad scientist at work. Okay, we got our 4. Let's build this bad boy now. That is so cool. We will be making the perfect rose. Now I'm just not sure if it's too tall, but we'll see. Okay, so we're gonna cut, I'll cut 4 more pieces of mesh, and then I'll start using the mesh that I already have cut. So again, we're doing 10.5 pieces. Now this part you can do 10-inch if you would like. It will use less mesh than the 10.5. So you're gonna make your petal like we've been doing all along. Pinch it. All right. Again, you got that curve. We're gonna use the curve to us. You're gonna take the tail of your petal here, okay, and it's gonna go towards the outside, facing outwards. So these ones face inwards, this one's gonna face outward. Till about, just till it passes this set of holes here, and then do it up. All right, we're gonna clip that off. We're going to do another petal right there. It's the next zip tie. Yeah, you can do it that way too, Susan. Okay, I'm using the curve, going in with the curve, putting the tail going outwards till just past the set of holes. Pull it tight, cut the zip tie. We're going to put 4 pieces like that. Curve. So this is row 5 that I'm using right now. You do not need, you can wood burn this mesh or heat seal it. However, with the rows, you do not need to do that with any mesh because you don't see any of the edges. So wood burning it would be just a waste of time and energy. Just cut it with your rotary cutter or your scissors. Okay, so we got 4 pieces. Pick whatever piece and you're going to start and we're going to just wrap this piece around the bud. Just like that. Now you can use, once we get a little bit bigger, you can use little sewing clips or clothespins. So now you're going to take the next piece right beside it and you're going to wrap it around so it's giving it a big hug. Okay. The next piece right beside it, again, we're going right around. You're not pulling it really, really tight. Just giving it each of the neighboring petals a hug. And then there's that last 4th piece. You're just bringing it around and giving it a hug. So these are the 2. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take a clothespin and just clothespin it. You can use glue if you want, but we're just going to clothespin it so it's out of the way. So this is the side view. Okay. This is a snow drift mesh for a Christmas rose. All right, so now we can trim. I'm going to just trim some of this up. You don't have to. I'm going to do it so you guys can see what my next step is. All right, now the rest is really easy, I promise. Okay, so that is row 5. Row 4. I'll flip it over. We are going to preload every set of normal holes on row 4. Down and up until you hear the click. All right. And we call that preloading the board closed. So I'm going to go around and do preload the whole row 4. This is the large board, and the large board is also, a lot of people also call it the flower board. We do make a lot of flowers on this board, but you can also make wreaths and all kinds of other stuff. But the large board / flower board is the same thing. You can do this on the small board. However, I like the large board because the spacing gives you a little bit more room to work with. And your fingers are not, cramping up in there. So I always use the large board for my roses. Okay, that's row 4. just going to trim these. Again, you do not have to trim these down. I'm trimming them down so you guys can see what I'm doing. Because we're going to preload row 3. And I normally don't go this slow, but I want to make sure that if you need to rewind it and watch it again, you know what I'm doing. Okay, so I'm going to preload with my zip ties again. This row, this was 4, this is 3, and we've done 2. So there is on row 3, it looks like a whole bunch of holes. There is an extra hole in between the regular holes, and that is for different flowers that require a lot more petals. However, we only need to do the normal 2 regular holes. So there's 8 of them. So again, down and up. Go so that we're skip this single hole. And down and up. And it's much, much easier as you see as we progress through this rows. You will see why I'm preloading them and not waiting to preload to go row to row, because this rows is going to get really full very fast and you won't be able to see what I'm doing. So once you get the hang of the rows, it is quite easy. I do road, when we go on road trips and stuff, I make roses in my lap in the front seat. As long as you have your mesh cut, I throw it in a big grocery bag. Then I make my petals with the elastic bands. And then you just shove them all in to get everything going. All right, so there is row 3. We did 8 on row 3. And now we're on row 2. And what I'm going to do is I'm preloading the 2 holes that don't have anything in it from the beginning, okay? So there's 8 of them on row 2 that don't have mesh in it. Like I said, once you master the rows, actually I haven't squished down the edge. Usually I tell people to, when they master it, to start from the center and work your way out, because when you start on the outside, your arms start to push down the mesh that you put in on the outside. However, the way I just did it, it really doesn't matter. It doesn't seem like it's really crushed. You don't have a laugh. Connie. You funny, Connie. All right, so we are all preloaded and ready to go. Okay, now this is going to go quick. Better open the drink. Have my buble. Cheers, everybody. All right. I did mention at the beginning that I had pre-made all kinds of petals. So this will go faster. What you're going to do, now if you don't want to pre-make them, you just start putting them in without the elastic band. So like I was doing on these ones, you're going to go with the curve in, pick any area on row 4 and just start. You're going to take the tail. It's going to go towards the outside of the board and zip it down. So it's about a 2-inch. Cut the zip tail off and wrap it around. Take your clothespin off. And we're just going to keep wrapping each piece around. So you're going to go to the next hole, to the right or left, doesn't matter. But when you are putting your petals in, don't start here and then go and put one over on the other side and then come back and put one here. do it in order all the way around, okay? So again, you take your tail, it's going in towards the outside, zip tie it in, take your clothespin off, and just wrap it around. I use these little sewing clips I got from Amazon, which are amazing. Okay, we're going to the next one. Cut the zip tie off. So you'll see I'm just taking the end of the petal, putting it in the zip tie, do the zip tie up, bring the mesh around so it's hugging, and that's all the rest of the rose is. And the mesh works against itself and keeps everything pushed towards the center. So these are just, they're called sewing clips. I got them on Amazon. There's like 100 of them for, I don't know, 10 bucks. I use them like crazy. Okay, so put it in, and you're doing the same row, and you keep just going around. And now you see why it's much easier to have all your petals pre-made, because then you just stick it into the zip tie, cut the zip tie tail off, wrap it around. And keep going. Yes, Connie makes beautiful roses. But try this new way for the outside, Connie. That way your rose, if you do it the new way, your rose turns out the same every single time. All right, last one on row 3. Okay. Okay, as you can see, it's getting quite full. What I like to do is I like to turn it over and I flick to make sure I didn't miss any. So if you turn it over and you flick and it's not coming loose like this one, you know you didn't miss any. All right, good to go. We're going on to the next row. So we are working on that was row 4. We're working on row 3, doing it the exact same way. Pick a spot. Okay. Just push your bud or rose back. Put your tail going towards the outside of the wreath or the board. Pull it, snip it. And you can recycle these zip tie tails. And we're going to continue just wrapping every petal. You just wrap it around. But keep, like I said, keep going to the neighboring one. Now I'm just using the clothespins just to pull the mesh out of the way so you can semi-see what I'm doing. And I'm always still working with the curve. This mesh I cut at 10.5. Well, the rest of these I cut at 10. The first 8 I did on the outside, I cut at 10.5. Cut it to whatever your mesh is. So if your mesh is 10.5 or 10 by 10 yards, cut your pieces at 10 inches. If it's at 10.5 by 10 yards, you can cut your pieces at 10.5. But as you can see, you do not see any cut edges. So that is why I said you do not need to wood burn your mesh. Okay, if you would, you're just wasting time if you wood burn it. Just cut it with your rotary cutter or your scissors, however you cut your mesh. And you're literally just putting it in and hugging it, wrapping it around. And now you can see why I preload the board beforehand. Because preloading while you're trying to dig yourself in there, it'll be a pain in the tuchus. This is 1 roll and a little bit. I will count how many actual pieces I used when I'm done. I don't think the clips are going to really do anything anymore. I don't think you guys are going to be able to see. I'm on my last one on row 3. Okay. She's full, and I'm not done. We still have 1 more row to do. Again, I'm going to flip this over, and I'm just going to pull to make sure I did get every petal, because we want to make sure that there's not a bare spot or anything. So if you pull on them and they're tight, you didn't miss any. Okay, so now we're going to be working on these ones on row 2. And they're going in the same as we did row 3, 4, and 5, okay? So again, take your petal, push this back, just start wherever. You're gonna take the end of your tail. I just kind of try and tuck it in underneath the ones already there and then zip tie it in. And I apologize, you're really not going to be able to see really what I'm doing because it is so full. But I'm just doing exactly what I did for all the rest of them. Outwards. Now it's easier when you're doing it and it's in front of you. You probably are having a hard time seeing what I'm doing because it is getting so full. But it's still just putting the tails in and wrapping it around. And we're almost done. more left. The only row that you point the end petals towards the inside is the very first row that you're making the scallop edge. All the rest always face towards the outside of the board. Okay, we have 2 more left. This is forming to be a nice full rose. Don't need these clips anymore. Thank you for sharing. The rose is the most asked about flower in all the flowers that I make. And it's always, people have problems with the first row, the outside row. And I really think I've nailed it this time for teaching purposes for sure. This mesh is a snowdrift mesh. We're doing a Christmas rose. And this is our last petal. Okay, so tuck these in. So I'm going to flip it over. Wow, this is beautiful. This is very, very pretty. Okay. Let's go around, flip, make sure that we didn't miss anything. We are good. We are done our rows. Yay. Now, you may have to go around. Sometimes the tails like to pop out. You can push them back in, and they usually stay. However, if you have a couple unruly ones that just keep popping out no matter how many times you tuck them in, you can add just a little tiny bit of hot glue. Let's see if I find one. Oh, let's just do it. Put a tiny dab of hot glue on the corner, and then you just bring it down, and it will stay down there then. This mesh is really, really nice for making a rose. Look how pretty that is. Snow rose. Okay, so what I'm doing is I'm just going around and making sure that all the corners are tucked in. So you don't want your corners sticking out, because you want it nice and rounded. And we have nice scalloped edge. They're all the same size. Loving it. You can't see the side of the board anymore. And we still have a nice back. Actually, I'm going to pull these. They're from the center. I'm just going to pop them into the hole. Sorry, I'm just popping the heads of the center bud into the hole. Alrighty. And there we go. Now we're going to add the green juniper. So let's count how many did I did. Okay, so we did 3 pieces of mesh on the very center bud. So 3. And then we used 4 pieces on row 5. 8 pieces on row 4, 8 pieces on row 3. We used 16 pieces on row 2. So we used about, you could probably do 40. So for you get 360 inches of mesh in a 10-yard roll. So to make a rose exactly like mine, you need 1 roll and 3 pieces. Okay, 1 roll, 3 pieces, plus 3 pieces. So you'll definitely need 2 rolls. Now normally I do my bud with just 1 piece of mesh, but I really like the center of this one because you can't see down the center, the board or anything. This one worked out absolutely perfect. Now we're going to put this green juniper on instead of leaves. This is just a pick. Cut the tag off. We're going to put a hanger on it. So we're right up at the top, you'll see 2 holes that are kind of chamfered in. They're like divoted in. Those are your hanging holes. So just put a zip tie through it. Zip it. Don't zip it all the way. And we're going to make a hanger. So there's your hanger. And we can put some, let's see, where should these go? Can actually probably even cut them in pieces. I want it to be a bit different for the Christmas rose, so that's why I decided to use like real instead of actual leaves. Oh, that's kind of pretty, isn't it? And then where's our cardinal? My chubby cardinal, where'd he go? Oh, he just fell on the floor as usual. And we're gonna glue him on. Now you can glue him on the branch, or we can glue him on sitting on the rose. It's totally up to you. But I'm going to flip this over and we'll start putting these in. Now, these are pretty big, so I think I might, you can pull them apart. So there's the actual stem of it, but if you pull them out, you can pull them apart so it's not so bulky. And I'm going to take a zip tie, and there's our hanger, so that's the top of the rose. So I think I might put some green here. So I'm just using a hole to the outside of the board. Okay, like that. And then I think I'll use the one beside it as well. And then I like to go diagonal. So I'm just going to go right straight across and use these 2 holes. And this is for the greenery. I normally don't put greenery all the way around my roses. All right, so we pulled these apart. How many do we have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we can do 3 into each zip tie. So we'll take the ends, match them up, and what I'm going to do is stick them through the zip tie like that and zip tie around it. You could probably do this at the beginning if you wanted. All right, and then I'm going to pull it till the zip tie is popped in the hole. Cut it off. Take the other 3. Now you can do this. This side I will do when it's on the table. So I'm putting them through the zip tie, holding it, and then just zipping it up. And then cut the zip tie off. And then you can take some hot glue. Take some hot glue, and I'm going to hot glue the stems just like that, right across the board. So they're zip tied and they're glued. Okay? And now I'm going to go do the other side. No, you can't buy the, well, I don't have the greenery and bird separately for sale. Not at this moment, at least. I will have more of these kits available next week. We're just waiting, waiting on one supply, and it should be here Monday, tomorrow. No, today's Saturday. Monday. Okay, I'm gonna take 3 of these again. And even twist it around. Take it. There's our zip ties right there that we put in. Put it on the board and then zip tie around it. Actually, this is probably easier just so you guys can see. Push that right in. Make sure it's nice and tight. I'm going to put, again, some glue here. Take the 3 again. Go this way. What did I do here? Oh, I did both this way. It's hard to do this upside down. I'm doing it so you guys can see what I'm doing. Pull that tight, cut the zip tie, and then we'll, again, put some hot glue so it doesn't move. There we go. There we go. Alrighty. Let that dry. This side should be dry, and then we can start, because they are wired, these little greenery things. You can just move them around. Oh, it's so pretty. There's one. This one's not dry yet. Where should I put the cardinal? Should I put the cardinal in the greenery here? Should I put him on the rose? Like that? What do you guys think? Fabric mesh will make a beautiful rose. This is a snowdrift mesh, but fabric mesh makes a great rose. Wide foil mesh makes a great rose. Deluxe foil mesh makes a great rose. And the new horizontal wide stripe mesh makes a great rose as well. It keeps the mesh it doesn't flatten. I would not use poly burlap for a rose because it'll kind of look like a cinnamon bun if you do. It doesn't keep that nice full shape. Now just pull these greeneries. Now you can, if you don't want to, like I said, this is a Christmas rose. If you don't want to use the greenery like I am, you can use just mesh for your leaves if you want. And then if you want to be even more extra, you can take some Craft Bond adhesive glue or some clear acrylic spray, gloss, spray your wreath. Oops, and then sprinkle your wreath with some diamond dust, and it will give your rose a little bit of sparkle. So it'll be snow plus sparkle. on the rose. I was thinking, where's the top? I was thinking kind of right, have her sitting right there. Oh yeah, right there is perfect. Make sure. Just gonna put, she doesn't have a clip. I don't know why, but I'm just gonna put a little bit of glue on the back for here. It is real feathers and everything, but oh my gosh, Dre is gonna love this wreath. Look how pretty. That is our Christmas rose, my friend. Oh, I have to hold her. Isn't that pretty? Love. And I love the new style. What I just did is perfect. I need to take all the rest of the tutorials off because this, the way I did this is, it works amazing. You don't see the side of the board anymore, and the outside is scalloped perfectly, every one of them. It is beautiful. It's really pretty. I probably will, actually, oh good, he's not. I'll have to put her there, but I am going to spray. This is just a spray adhesive. I am going to put some sparkle on this, just a little bit. So you just spray a little bit of, and this glue will dry, the spray adhesive, and then I'm going to take some of this diamond dust, and I'm just going to lightly go over top of my rose and give it a little bit of sparkle. And it will look like the snow is sparkling. And let it dry. It takes a couple hours to dry the adhesive glue. And then I'll shake it off outside, so any of the sparkle that didn't stick to the glue will just come off. And then once she's done, I will put her on. And now we have a sparkly snow rose. Isn't that beautiful? Okay, everybody. Well, thank you for joining me. I'm really happy with the way it turned out. And I will edit this video to scale it back a bit, but it will be available on YouTube. And you can start, stop, rewind, watch what I'm doing step by step. But I'm so excited to see your guys' roses. Alrighty? It actually is pretty easy, so don't stress over about when you're doing it. Do not stress over it. Do it step by step. Start, put your petal in, press play, do the next step that I did, you know, pause it, go to the next one. I promise you'll get it, okay? You'll get it. It is easy. Try and pre-make your petals if you can. It does make things a lot easier. But anyways, we'll just let everything dry and I will post a picture of it later. All right, everybody, we'll talk to you later. Thanks for joining me. Have a good one. Bye, everybody.